The light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you, for
Hello, people of the internet. My name is Henry Danish, and we are going on to week number 7 here. And obviously, as you guys can tell, the setup is a little bit different. We are changing things just slightly with how the pregame is going to look. But we are going to be seeing DirtyBirds going up against Viper in the first matchup of week 7. And this match has a lot behind it. DirtyBirds are coming into this matchup. They are still, I think, the underdogs, obviously, based on the standings, but based on the community vote, Viper are the severe underdogs. And the reason that is because Viper probably experienced their worst loss ever. But I say this all the time, and I'm going to continue to say it. Hindsight is 2020. So if I'm Viper and I'm on the Viper side, right after that match, I looked at the VOD and I figured out what did I do wrong and what did the team do wrong. If I'm Viper right now, I'm expecting change from everyone, everything except maybe vending machines at this point, because they need to flip everything and come into this game with a completely new perspective. Because going into that prime matchup, they did not look good at all. Everybody was on their side in the community, at least a majority of the community was, and then they got thrashed 7-0. So this game, they need to bring it back here. If they kind of get into this slump where they continue to falter, then they're going to be seeing major problems. I am joined here once again by Demonic. Demonic, what is your take on this matchup?
Well, I think it's going to be certainly exciting. I mean, we saw that Viper didn't really do very well against Prime. A little bit of a embarrassing game for them. And overall, that might affect how they're going to be playing because, once again, the spotlight is on them. And now they actually have something to prove where previously they were doing well. They had a good standing, a good run. And now it's kind of faltering a little bit. So they have to be a little bit more careful. Now, thankfully for them, if we're going to go based off of statistics and standings, they aren't against a very tough opponent. But keep in mind, DirtyBirds are the only people to take a map off of Disrupt. And we know that is a very, very good team. So obviously they do have some skill on their side. And it's not going to be the easiest thing for them to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I think another thing we're going to take a quick look at as the players are trying to get into the lobby, it is taking a little bit longer as, again, I said this last week, custom games have been kind of weird after the update, so we do apologize if there's latency issues and things like that, just kind of throw off the flow of everything. But looking here at the map bans, we are going to be seeing the map of Coastline played, and we actually might see a little bit of a delay as well, as one of the DirtyBirds players is just not at home yet, but it should be fine. We're going to go over it with Viper, and we might have a little bit of a delay, but it would just give us a little bit more time to talk about this match. But obviously, seeing Coastline here, this is interesting. Obviously, actually, this is the most played map in RCR6 so far, followed closely behind by Oregon, but Coastline is at the top. And when you see teams go to this map, obviously it's a common map, and it's a very, I would say, somewhat 50-50, but sometimes offense has an advantage, sometimes defense has an advantage. But what I'm seeing here from Viper, obviously kind of going to this map, as well as DirtyBirds, is the fact Viper needed a comfort pick here. They needed to be comfortable coming into this matchup, because if they weren't comfortable, and on top of what happened last week, they're just trying to get everything back into their grasp, everything back into their play of things, because coming into this game, a lot of people are doubting them. So I think picking this Coastline map, a very, very comfortable map, a very, very common map, not only is it DirtyBirds saying like, okay, yeah, we can take this, but I think it's also a little bit of Viper saying, okay, we need this. We won't just take it. We need this map right now, because we are going through a very, very tough phase. And obviously, there are a lot of other things with Coastline, but seeing Coastline as the map played, what's your reaction to that?
Well, Coastline is a very interesting map in that it allows for a lot of versatility. There's actually a surprising amount that you can do to change things on sites. And basically, like, for example, with Border that we saw, it was obvious that Viper was having a bit of a hard time trying to go against the tried and true strategies that Prime was using on both the attacking side and the defending side. Here on Coastline, it's a little bit harder to predict what your opponent's going to do, and it makes it a little bit easier for you to be a little bit more flexible with how you set things up on the defense. So hopefully they'll take advantage of that fact, because there's a lot of angles that they can create that aren't typically that used too often. There's a lot of different operators that they can use and choose depending on the ban phase and how that goes. So overall, it gives them a little bit more wiggle room to be creative, and I think that's really where they're going to thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are actually going to have a slight delay here. One of the players is just running a little bit late. Both of the teams have agreed that it's okay to just delay it a little bit. So we are just going to flash that countdown back up for you guys. Make sure you stay tuned, and we will be back talking a little bit more about the match before we get into Coastline. So we'll be right back as soon as possible. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we should be back into it very, very shortly here. I am just going to re-invite all of the Viper players, and then we should be underway very, very shortly. But basically, if you are just tuning in now, lucky you, we have not started yet, as there was just a slight delay. But what we were talking about was the fact Vipers coming into this match, coming off of probably one of the worst defeats in RCR6 history. Everybody, or the community majority, was on their side to beat Prime, and instead of beating Prime, they got absolutely thrashed 7-0 on the map of Border. And basically what we were saying was DirtyBirds, they are also coming into this matchup with the majority in the votes as well. So the fact that a number 13 team in DirtyBirds is winning in community votes over a number 5 team, that just shows how devastating that loss was for Viper, and as well as the fact how important this game is. And again, if you are just tuning in, I am joined here once again by Demonic. Demonic, do you have anything you want to repeat or kind of add to this game so far?
I just want to say that it's going to be very interesting to see what these guys are going to be doing right now. You know, they are low in the standings, but this could definitely bump up their status if they're able to win it out. And by them, I mean DirtyBirds.
Yes.
DirtyBirds, of course. Excuse me. I also really like casting on Coastline because it's a very fun map to play, and it's a very fun map to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I could not agree more. Coastline, like you said earlier, is one of the most dynamic maps in kind of the map pool for competitive right now. And it's not like a Border, it's not like an Oregon where it's extremely linear. You're going to see different types of play almost every round. Yes, you might see a strat here, a strat there that kind of follows the same foundation, but you're never going to really see the same game over and over and over again like you would on a map of Oregon or a map of Border. But all of the players are in, and I'm going to make sure they all are ready because, again, we've been having issues with custom games. All of the players should be, never mind, one of them just unfortunately disconnected, but that does just give us a little bit more time here. So obviously, I think the big thing that is just shocking everybody just a little bit is the fact DirtyBirds, a team who is in 13th place, they find themselves outside of the playoff picture. They have the majority of the votes in this matchup, and that's something you don't typically see. And I'm not trying to underestimate DirtyBirds at all. DirtyBirds, again, like you said, is one of the only teams to actually beat Disrupt. So yes, they're coming into this game at a lower tier, but they've proven themselves against some very tough teams. And coming into this matchup, what do you think DirtyBirds has to do to take down Viper?
Well, you know, I say it every time with every single amateur or even semi-professional team: communication, 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 communication. You're not going to function as a team if you aren't able to discuss things, plan strategies, and execute them flawlessly. If you continue to make mistakes, if you continue to go, oh, I'm a rank star, I play R6 TM, so I know what I'm doing, I don't need to worry about my team, you're not going to get anywhere. I don't care how good you are. I don't care what pro players or streamers you go against and you fight all the time. If you can't talk with your teammates and figure out things and, you know, let your ego go to the side, you're not going to be a good player, period. So that's one of the biggest things that I see that causes issues with a lot of these teams. So hopefully that's not going to be plaguing DirtyBirds tonight. Instead, they're going to work together and they're going to dominate Viper, because even a few little mistakes, even one or two, can cost them rounds, which can cost them the map.
All right, guys, we are going to be getting right into it now. Finally, all of the players are in the matchup, and I'm sorry that is the wrong screen, but all the players are in the matchup, and we're seeing you guys on the map of Coastline. All right, ladies and gentlemen, into the ban phase. Viper obviously going to be getting the first ban. Bans on Coastline are fairly typical, most likely Blackbeard, Glaz. You're going to see off the board maybe a shield operator, but it is going to be Glaz. That Russian sniper doesn't see a lot of play in competitive, as sometimes you just can't see him physically when he is playing because he's in between all that smoke. And with that nice little kind of banana seeking scope, he is very, very deadly on the map of Coastline, especially on those big windows. But second attacker ban coming out here, what are you expecting?
Blackbeard.
Yeah.
I would be completely surprised if it was anything different. And if not, it really opens up DirtyBirds to do some work with him if they allow him to get through.
And if we, wow,
All right, well,
that
that's
is
going to be
interesting.
open, and I guess what they're probably going to be worrying about is maybe Dirty Birds wants to play Pulse on defense.
Yeah.
I'm guessing because because it was Dirty Birds that banned IQ out first, and they're playing on the attacking side as a mirror
Yeah.
ban comes out. But usually it would be vice versa, where Viper would be saying, "Hey, we want to play Pulse, let's get rid of IQ," so they can't counter that. So maybe they're going to be focusing more on the defense. I guess I'm not sure what's going on there.
Sometimes what you actually see, maybe obviously this might not be the case here, is the fact, yes, we see an IQ ban, and she's not really a typical ban, obviously, as you guys can tell from our reactions. Maybe it's one of those bans where they say, okay, we kind of have to get somebody off the board, but we really don't want to get anybody off the board. Let's just get this IQ. And maybe that means they're going to run a lot of trap operators on defense, or I'm not really seeing it. Maybe they want to run Valkyrie on defense, but it's more of a defensive-sided pick. And the fact that they're on attack first, again, is just really, really questionable, as we are going to be seeing that Valkyrie come out from Geo. And yes, after the no update, she has insane throw mechanics, so you could potentially see that camera just being an indestructible spot, especially without that IQ as well.
But we can see that they are going to be making use of the Blackbeard, like I assumed Aoeah is going to be holding on to him. Meanwhile, we're going to see a 6th pick from Aoeah, who's going to be switching over to the man, the myth, the castle. And that's probably going to allow them to basically castle off very key points. And that might actually work in stopping Blackbeard from getting angles that could be detrimental for Viper.
This is a very interesting first pick, especially on the map of Coastline. We've seen Hookah Billiards is definitely more of a ranked style of map and a ranked style of site. And the fact that we're actually seeing it as the go-to first site here for Viper, we saw this on Border from them too, they chose Bathroom Tellers, is really questionable. It didn't end too well on Border, as we all know, but going to Hookah Billiards, especially in a competitive match, is something you just don't see. Normally, it should be, obviously, Penthouse, maybe Kitchen, sometimes even Double Bar. But Hookah Billiards is definitely the ranked style of site. And yes, you could say maybe the Viper is just a bunch of rank stars, but you're playing in a competitive match and playing like a bunch of rank stars, that's never going to work. So it's a little questioning to see them go to this site first.
I think it actually might work out in their favor, though, having the castle to go against the Blackbeard, and along with that, with the Jackal, oh, looks like that's going to be an instant kill. I think that's going to be Mirage, who's going to go down, and Geo will pick one up relatively easy, only 30 seconds into the round. And it seems like he wants to find a second one, but no, he's going to be retreating back, which is a smart thing, because he has a lot of people coming after him who are very mad that they killed their buddy.
Yeah, we do see the Ashe is going to be going on that roam clear with drones at her assistance. They are going to drone out the Valkyrie, but Valkyrie is going to stick it on this main lobby and decide to take the fight to the Ashe, and she is in a very, very tough spot. You can get a crossfire from that courtyard area, but if somehow this Valkyrie is able to pick up 2 frags on the roam, that is extremely, extremely successful. As we see the Jackal being the first one off the board, the thing he swore to kill was what killed him, and just look how close they are gonna be to getting this frag on the Valkyrie, or vice versa. Geo is in a very nice spot. Aoeah, though, is able to get the kill onto Sega, and we do see Valkyrie making the push. Gonna be pushing into offices, is able to find the Ashe, and down goes the Ashe, not able to find the Blackbeard, though. Aoeah able to get the refrag, making it 2 versus 3 with about 130 left.
And it's going to even up right now as 7 is going to fall as Mr. Huma picks up a kill for himself. Minute 3 seconds left. We have Blackbeard downstairs and Huma upstairs, with both the defenders kind of far away from each other right now. And they have a very good crossfire if they do come that way, as Aoeah continues to join his teammate. Now, they do have to control the diffuser, which is a very important thing. That's something that maybe, every once in a while teams forget to do as they prepare to push on to site. It looks like what they're trying to do is they're trying to drone out and get as much information as they can before they actually push inside and break the armor panel.
Have recovered their diffuser.
Yeah, we see a lot of intel is basically the idea here, because they do have a lot of time. Still 58 seconds left, and only a 2v2. This round has gone by extremely quickly. And with a Blackbeard in play and with a Zofia in play, these are great operators in late round. Any angle, you're going to be favoring the Blackbeard, and lots of disruption with that Zofia. And it looks like they're actually going to be going to the plant, and it looks like Mr. Hummer is going to be able to get it down because the smoke did miss. But Hoppy is coming around the corner, able to get the kill and able to finish it off. There is Rambo onto Aoeah in a round where it actually looked like DirtyBirds were going to be able to secure it with the plant.
Oh, great
Unfortunately, is going to come to an end with a nice shot there by the smoke.
Yeah, I think it was really smart of Hoppy to actually peek out, but I definitely think Geo was the MVP of that round, getting a nice
Yes.
little two-piece at the beginning, and along with that being quite the distraction that, excuse me, Dirty Birds had to deal with. So that just shows how powerful those roamers can be when they're in a good situation. And along with that, those black eye cameras, they can offer
Oh,
a
God.
lot of what's the word I'm looking for?
Intel?
Intel, yeah. It can offer a lot of intel on the attacking team. And we saw there that there was one in Aquarium that they didn't even know about until the end, which means they knew exactly where Shuma was, they knew exactly where the attack was coming from, and they were able to adjust to that.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great start for Viper because coming off of, I hate to ring the same bell over and over and over again, but last week was rough, and we can't deny that. So I think coming out with a first round win is huge for this Viper side because I don't know what this Blarn thing is, but it's just kind of something they keep saying. But they needed that. They really needed that round. It was 7 unanswered rounds in RCR6 where they weren't seeking a win. Finally, they get it back, breaking that just dreadful streak. And maybe that will ignite the fire beneath them and get them back to their old ways, as they now are going to be going down to double bar. Very off-meta sites here, and I think it's throwing DirtyBirds off a little bit. If I'm DirtyBirds, you're expecting, again, penthouse, maybe kitchen. They then decide to go billiards first. You're like, wait, what's going on? And then like, okay, they definitely have to go penthouse or kitchen now. And then they say, no, let's just go double bar. So Viper's definitely throwing off this DirtyBird side. And yes, it might be at the expense of how comfortable they are on the site. But sometimes that factor of surprise is just so major.
One of my favorite Mark Twain quotes is, "The best swordsman in the world doesn't need to fear the second best swordsman in the world. No. The person for him to be afraid of is the ignorant antagonist." So what that means is they don't have to worry about going against these strats and these things that they've gone after 1,000 times that are supposed to work because they're meta. But going off site, playing in weird angles, doing different things, that's where they really start to shine. So playing, almost like you're in a ranked game, almost like you don't know what you're doing, can work in these situations. And as we can see here, they're going to be making their way inside into hookah, and that's going to be a kill for Saiga, who is going to take out Ollie early on. This time is going to be DirtyBirds' turn to actually get an early pick right now. 4v5, 2 minutes left. You can see that Hoppy is trying to get a couple of angles from people down below, but isn't able to spot anybody. Meanwhile, Mirage making his way down Cool Vibes in order to get the push going. And Hoppy, oh no, he might get stuck in the corner. No, he's gonna be smart and back away before anything goes wrong in that regard.
You're going to see the Buck actually going to be getting down. Don't exactly know what from. Maybe just a reset coming out from the team. But he is going to be picked up nonetheless, and it's going to be back to 50. And Rambo on that smoke continues to get some extremely good kills. That's going to be Saga off of the board, the Buck. And he just got back up and maybe had a breath of air, but he's going to be dead as Aoeah as well. Able to get a nice frag onto 7. That's your Legion down. That's a lot of utility off the board. Considering the fact it's a Legion, you need him to stay alive late in the round. As we also see Geo potentially gonna get caught in a pinch here. If he gets pushed by that Monty, he has Zofia and Yin waiting for him in the other room.
And it looks like he was able to spot them out, but he was spotted as well. Is able to find one, but he is not going to be able to grab the other. Instead, Mirage is going to come up from behind and potentially save his teammate. I'm not sure if they would have actually got that frag there. They do have the advantage, however, 3v2 right now, but they are beginning to run out of time. They're not close enough on the site to actually make a dedicated push. And as we can see there, a couple of cameras are going to go out right now. Puma, however, a great angle for him. That's going to pay off as he finds a frag, and it is all up to the Italian operator right now, who's going to run into Aoeah and is not going to succeed in taking him out. DirtyBirds will be picking up their first round.
Very good round there from DirtyBirds with that Monty. Something I don't think that Viper were expecting, and they definitely couldn't handle it very well. I think the biggest thing, and I think the reason why we saw the Monty come into play, is the fact we all know Viper are extremely skilled mechanically, and if you're in a one-on-one gunfight with Viper, you're probably going to lose. So what better operator to bring than a giant wall to push them into a corner and then just get the pinch? So really organized push, and it was smart because they knew they were definitely going to lose the one-on-one gunfights that they did in the first round. Obviously, we saw the Valkyrie contested the Ashe and the Yin and won both of those gunfights. And they said, okay, we can't beat him. Let's just get a giant wall to block us, and then we can pinch him.
Yep.
So that's exactly what they did. Very, very smart there from DirtyBirds. And why fix what's not broken as they continue to bring him? We're going to be seeing him for the second. We're going to be seeing Monty, that is, for the second round in a row here.
I do like, however, how Geo is actually switching to a pulse, because the way that they came in through that hookah lounge, it can be devastating if they get
Defenders,
a well-placed
protect your
nitro
bombs from
cell
being
to
defused
get
by
one or
attackers.
two of them off immediately without any repercussion.
Bomb located by
We can
attackers.
really tell that Geo is an experienced roamer, both in the previous round and in this one as well. So it's very nice adaptation coming out from Viper. Very smart move to kind of switch things up a little bit and go with a different operator, because we've seen that he has done work both in this game and in the past, and it's just kind of up to his teammate to take that advantage that he gives them and to run with it. So we'll have to see if they do that in this round, or if DirtyBirds is going to be able to come out early and steamroll over them quickly, because I feel like the moment that Geo dies so far from what I've seen, the momentum of Viper kind of falls
5
apart, and
seconds
that's where they
remaining.
start to get a little unsettled.
Yeah, and it's really weird to see that as well, because Geo tends to waste a lot of time. And most of the time when time gets wasted, you're thinking that the defense is going to be able to win that round pretty easily. But even last round and the round before, obviously the round before they won it, but the last round, there was only about 40 seconds left, and somehow we still saw an effective push from that DirtyBirds side. So it could just be really, really good push there from DirtyBirds, but also just kind of falling apart there as Viper when they do lose Geo. And Geo is playing very aggressive, just trying to get as much intel as possible, trying to figure out exactly where this push is coming from. And without an IQ, he really doesn't have a counter right now. The only counter is another bullet into his head. He just has to play it safe, win his gunfights, and he's going to be able to potentially land a huge C4, not only on the Monty, but maybe on a couple other players that are following close behind.
Now, the good thing is, at least, they're already doing better than they did on the previous quarter map. And is that Nitro going to land? No, it's actually going to be wasted. A bit of a mishap coming out from Geo, kind of giving away the advantage they had. And not only that, but opening up an angle through the floorboards that could potentially bite them in the rear later on. So we'll have to see what happens there. But at least they're doing better than they did against Prime. So I'm sure that they've already finished their goal. They're not going to be losing 7-0 again. That's not going to happen, folks. I'm sorry, that's disappointing to some of you.
Yeah, and I think for Viper, that is the best thing possible, just to get that first round. But we're seeing them kind of struggle a little bit. Obviously, Geo, a little bit of a questionable C4 toss there as he's going for the peek and no salt with a huge shot. That is going to be the pulse down. We talked so much about the pulse, but he did basically nothing the entire round, and that is extremely unfortunate. But Mirage looks like he could potentially go down as he's inhaling that toxic gas. But instead of Mirage going down, it's going to be Aoeah getting the kill onto Ollie, and DirtyBirds getting another one, making it a 5v2, and Legion and Smoke are your last operators alive. These are two extremely good operators in the clutch, but with only 2 smoke canisters left, there's a lot on the table for these two operators.
But we can see 7 is going to be going for the flank. The problem with this, however, is there's only 50 seconds left, which means the push is inevitable, and the only person on site is going to be the Smoke. So 7 has to take advantage of the fact that he is on the roam right now and they don't know where he is. Meanwhile, we can see that Smoke is in a really bad situation. He's going to be chased out, shot from multiple angles, and there's just nothing he can do. Saiga's going to take him out, and this is a 1v5 as the diffuser is planted, which means he has to really hurry up if he wants to actually win this through right now. And just on the actual, a great sneak coming out from 7. Gonna find no salt right now, but it might not be enough. The Monte Mirage is coming forward right now, but another one for him. Aoeah's gonna fall, and he's gonna be forced outside. Is he gonna be going for the plant right now? He might try to go for the disable cheeks outside to the pre-fire. A knife comes out, but it's not gonna be enough. And Saiga will find 7 to end out round 3 with a victory for DirtyBirds.
There's really not much we could see from that Legion. Obviously, he did pick up a couple kills there. One, I think it was on the Blackbeard, and one on the Yin. Very impactless frags, though, as the round was almost decided once you saw the 5 versus 1 flash up onto the screen. And Viper right now is struggling with that Monty play. I think obviously, yeah, I was just about to say this. I think they need to bring a little bit more trap operators, and they are going to be going for the Frost. I don't understand why they're not bringing the Legion. That's a little bit questionable in my opinion, but the best counter right now in the game to the Monty or to a Blitz is just a lot of traps, a lot of disruption to throw them off and to expose them just a little bit more. And we're not really seeing that. We saw the Legion in the second round get picked off early. Obviously, he was the last one alive last round, but he was normally off site. And what happens most of the time when you have a Legion roaming is they tend to kind of toss their traps for themselves on their flank just to make sure nobody is pushing them from behind, things like that. They're not really putting them on site. And that's questionable when you're playing up against a Monty. You need those traps in sight, or Plant is going to come down almost every single round. And we're not going to be seeing any trap operators here from Viper. They're just going to be sticking it out and getting rid of that Frost, instead going for the Mute, who now has that SMG. So he's a little bit more powerful and definitely has a little bit more to his name. But no trap operators going up against the Monty is just really questionable in my opinion. They've been struggling with him, and I think they kind of just neglected the only solution they had.
Yeah, Suzaku would be pretty disappointed that there aren't actually any trap operators here right now. But the good thing is that they still have a very strong team comp, and along with that, they're actually playing on a quote-unquote meta site.
Yeah.
Being in the Penthouse Theater, it is one of the stronger objective points on the map right now on Coastline, and it might allow them to get back to this game. It kind of makes Montang not as efficient, because there really isn't that many areas where he can block the doorway safely without getting flanked from behind or from another weird angle. And along with that, he's going to be spawning on the other side of the map, which means he's going to waste a lot of time actually getting over there. He'll be making a lot of noise, one that Geo on the roam might be able to take advantage of. Oh! Or no, he's on site. Never mind. Devin, that's roaming. I do apologize for that. We're not going to talk about why there was a little bit of some friendly fire there. It's to relieve tension.
Yeah, definitely.
Make them play a little looser. It's like a warm-up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit of, I guess, some friendly banter there from the team. Just Maestro getting a little bit of a tap onto the Mute, who is on site. We are going to be seeing Geo playing actually pretty aggressively in this penthouse most of the time. Typical from an anchor in this site is just hiding behind the bed and waiting for the push. But we're going to see Geo kind of running around, just trying to seek angles and trying to seek kills. As 7 is going to get caught in the very first gunfight of the match. Nobody is going to be taking any bullets or any injuries, and they're both going to be leaving with 100% health. And it looks like the Azali is able to get a nice frag onto Mirage. That's going to be the Monty down. That is a huge frag. As I was just about to say, it looked like they were already preparing for the push. That is definitely going to stifle them quite a bit, as I think their most viable operator so far has already been taken off the board.
Yep, this is a 4v5 and a minute and 20 seconds left, and they really haven't done a whole lot to prepare for this onslaught. They've really given them a lot to work with right now, and as we can see, that armor panel is really just making Aoeah HD's life hell, but Saiga's gonna find one in a second one to almost even it up right now. 4v3 giving them quite the advantage almost immediately, and we can see Buck is being rushed forward. They even have the camera on him, tries to find a second one, or I'm sorry, a third one, as Aoeah will take out Ollie, and this just completely fell apart for Viper so quickly as they all get inside right now, and Geo is down as well, which means this is all up to 7. He's not going to be able to save his teammate right now, trying to find one of the DirtyBird players. Not going to be able to do it. Yes, he is. Aoeah's going to fall. That's going to be the Blackbeard taken off of the board right now. That's a very critical kill for him to get. And Geo still down right now, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do anything about it, as Saiga picks up a third one, and Aoeah will be finishing off the final down player, Geo.
I don't know what is happening with this Viper side. The beginning of the season, they looked like the strongest team, and they're starting to really fall apart here. Obviously, the game is not even close to over, as it's going to be 1st to 7, but you're expecting a lot more from them, and they just aren't performing well at all. There's been so many things in their favor that they just don't capitalize on. Monty was the first operator dead. He has been an absolute menace this entire game, and then we saw nothing come from it. Monty died, and DirtyBirds were just like, oh, okay. And then Viper just was like, okay, let's just collapse and fall apart. You can't do that. That's what Viper is just not taking advantage of everything that has been given to them, and that is their problem. DirtyBirds, on the other hand, every single mistake, every single thing that has been given to them has been capitalized on. And that's just the difference so far. That is why we're seeing 3-1. The first round, I think, was good for Viper to get their confidence back, but these last three have put it right back where it was.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
Yeah,
defused
exactly.
by
But we are
attackers.
going to be returning back to the original site, Hookah and Pool, right now. And we'll see, because they did have a little bit of luck on this objective site. This is the only one that they have won so far. And along with that, we can see that there is going to be a vigil. So from what I've noticed, DirtyBirds is a very drone-heavy team, so maybe they'll be able to take advantage of this hack by having 7 play the Korean Batman. Definitely going to have to be very smart and very safe, because we can really see how much a roamer has an effect on DirtyBirds because of how closely knit they play with each other and how much they focus on a one-end full frontal assault rather than trying to go in from different angles and trying to,
Attackers have
collapse
recovered
onto
their
them.
diffuser.
They instead just like
Attackers
push
objective
hard
is
and push fast from the same direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes for something that
has left
Arma
the
3
area of
has taught a lot of
operation.
people is spacing is key. There's not a lot of spacing for DirtyBirds. Is 7. That's huge. Getting the very first kill onto the Zofia. That's a lot of utility off the board extremely early. But the question is now, can they capitalize on it? And that is just unfortunate. A little bit of a missed impact there, not able to get the rotate. He is going to be droned out though.
Attackers have
And
located
even
a bomb.
as Vigil, these drones from DirtyBirds have been extremely, extremely good. But the advantage is still in favor of the defense right now.
Yep, this is definitely a good start for them. It's kind of what they need right now. But 7, he is in a very dangerous spot right now. And it looks like that Montang was able to spot that and almost lands a shot through the wall. That would have been a very nice kill. But that's going to be one for the Blackbeard. Mirage is going to trade with Geo and come out on the winning end of that. But it doesn't matter because Hoppy is going to say, nope, I'm going to revenge my friend. And you're going to go down. But 7, not able to land the shots he needs to get in Salt. Will make him a little bit salty right there with 5 HP left, but he still got the kill and he is still walking. Definitely a good position for Montaigne to be in right now, downstairs with the rest of his teammates. Looks like he has to head back up as Rambo watches the rotation angle. Very good position for him to be in now. And in 35 seconds left, what are they going to do for the rest of the round?
So we do see the attackers, most of their attacking side is kind of beat and battered. I mean, that Yin is at 1 health. She trips over her shoelaces and she's going to be going down. Whereas on defense here, we are going to be seeing the reset come out onto that Yin. Whereas on defense, everybody is full health. Everybody is kind of healthy and well. They just got their nice doctor checkup and they are good to go. That could easily be the difference. Just 1 health could be the difference in a gunfight. And the fact that we see, as we are getting a Maestro cam glitch bug, there it is now off. I apologize for that. That was extremely obnoxious. But we are going to be seeing just maybe that lick of health could easily be the difference in the late round execution when we see the gunfights come out.
Right now, Aoeah, I think they're just waiting for that to open up before they push inside right now. 45 seconds left. Saiga, very good angle for him to work with right now, but the remote gas grenade is going to stop that, which means that Kindle grenade isn't really going to get that much use, but a second one's tossed in. Is Salt going to rush through this with Saiga? All 3 of them are going to be tossed out right now, and they're going to already blown up, which means they're not going to really get much out of it. There's so many grenades and projectiles being tossed left and right. It's not going to work for them. Ollie is going to find the diffuser, but he's going to go down as well. Aoeah is able to complete the kill. 2v2 and 15 seconds left. One of these sides has to work on this. Will Rambo and his teammate be able to stop this? Aoeah's going to try and go for the plant right now, but Saiga's going to go down, and this is all up to him. He doesn't have enough time, and that is not going to work for him. Saiga's going to go down by Rambo, and Viper will be picking up round number 5.
Hookah Billiard seems to be the definite site of choice for this Viper side. It is the only site they have won. And I'm kind of questioning why we haven't seen a kitchen hold. Obviously, with Monty, kitchen hold is extremely, extremely difficult. But there is definitely a counter. And finally, we are going to be seeing it. The reason why, if you guys have watched casts in the past, and that, wow, that kind of rhymes. But didn't expect that.
Trying to rap on us, Red
yeah,
Cube?
exactly.
Oh my God.
But if you have seen my casts in the past,
That were fast.
yeah, exactly. Oh my God. But yeah, I have reiterated the fact kitchen is an extremely viable site, and that's just because the numbers of the site are extremely favored for the defense. It is actually 60% defense win, 40% attacker win. That is the only site on Coastline where defense actually has the advantage. So that's just kind of something that I think a lot of teams need to grab a hold of a little bit more. And I'm glad to see Viper finally taking advantage of
Attackers
that
need to
in the
locate and
last
defuse
round
bomb.
of defense. It's not my yeah, no, last round of defense, and then we will see the reset. So it's really good to see them not only go to a different site that we haven't seen all
Attackers have
game,
located a
but it's an
bomb.
extremely viable site and technically the most viable site on Coastline.
Exactly. So they do have a lot to work with right here, but I really like how they aren't switching up their operators too much. Other than their roamers, they really haven't strayed away from that Maestro Mute Smoke Castle combo. And I think that kind of works in their favor because sure, you can
10 seconds
switch things
remaining.
up with different operators and have different strategies that don't really transfer over to
5
other
seconds
sites
left before
and has
insertion.
sequence for specific areas, but kind of allowing
Attackers
these
have
players to get
recovered
in the
their
groove of a certain
Attackers'
operator
objective is to
allows them to be a
defuse the
little bit
bomb.
more comfortable. Even if they play that operator all the time, it kind of just gets them in that player's perspective. Like for example in CSGO, usually they're going to be picking up the AK if they're on the CT side because it's more comfortable, and they always play with the same weapons.
Yeah.
Where there's always the opper, there's always the gunners and things like that, the ones they smoke and things
Bomb
like that.
located by
So I think
attackers.
repetitiveness really helps in terms of solidifying your gameplay.
As we are going to see Valkyrie once again here from Geo. We saw him in the first round, was extremely effective. He also has a really nice angle. That's what he's trying to open right now
Yeah, really
with
nice
the
Deagle
Deagle. And this is a very nice Deagle skin. But we are going to be seeing him just opening up this angle onto the Monty. If he potentially does go for that plant in main entrance,
Attackers
Geo
drop
is
the
going to be
diffuser.
all over it. And it doesn't seem to be any roam clear upstairs. So that does open up the doors. As I said that Mr. Humma is going to be going for that clear. I was going to say it opens up the doors for a run out, but that looks like it has been kind of fizzled out due to the fact that Mr. Hummer has made his presence known upstairs. As Sega is able to get the first kill, that is going to be onto the Mute. Not a really impactful kill, as all of Mute's
recovered
jammers
the bomb
should be
diffuser.
down, but it is a kill nonetheless, making it 5 versus 4 now in the last round of defense for this Viper side.
And Ollie is going to be on the offside anchor with his teammate right now, making his way back to the bathroom area. The first Toxic Babe is going to get tossed out, and Mirage is going to be spotted, but unfortunately, you can't really do much against a bulletproof shield. So he's not going to be able to get any damage from that. Meanwhile, No Salt watching to see if he's able to peek on in, and he knows somebody's at that window. Is he going to catch Geo jumping out right now? You can really tell that he wants to, but that's going to be a kill for Rambo. A great shot on his end, as No Salt is going to get taken out right now, but Sega will be finding Ollie, and there's almost a gun battle between Geo and the Blackbeard. Neither of them are going to actually land any shots onto each other. He's going to be forced to retreat back, almost loses his head of guitar. Looks like he's just going to be going back onto site. 50 seconds left. 3v4 right now. Make that a 3v3 as Rambo finds a second one for himself. And the 2K is now going to be another thing for Sega, as Hoppy Poppy is going to fall, which means there are no more evil eyes. Looks like Aoeah and Mr. Humar are going to be rushing in forward, and that's going to be 3v1. Geo is going to go down, but Rambo finds a third one. He's going to need to aces to actually win this out right now, but it's not going to be enough. A great headshot from Aoeah will be cleaning out in round number 6 for DirtyBirds.
So DirtyBirds definitely securing the half in somewhat, I would say, convincing style. But if I'm a Viper fan or I am on the Viper side, I should not be discouraged. Again, Coastline is definitely attacker favored. So just getting a couple rounds is encouraging for this Viper side. And they should just be able to maybe, those 2 rounds could easily be enough for them to close it out since they are on the attacking side. If you are not familiar with the complete change of the kind of format, we are now 6 rounds and 6 rounds, so making it 12 rounds total, and first to 7. So that is just the little bit of a change to add a little bit more, I think, of a chance for everyone, because there's just 2 extra rounds. And I've seen the difference. I feel like there's actually, it changed a lot more than I expected, because obviously, I think the half is a lot more interesting when you see a tie, so you know that going into the next portion of the match, you're going to be very, very close. And it's also, it makes the half change a lot more, I think, important. You can get way more hard resets and just giant changes coming out
Attackers
from
need to
teams
locate and
because there's
defuse
just
as many
more to
bombs
work
as they
with.
can.
Obviously, 6 rounds from 5 rounds, it might not seem like a lot. With a team in a competitive sense, 1 round could easily be the difference of changing your strategy completely or keeping what you've been doing the same.
Exactly. It's not like CSGO, because in CSGO, you can lose a round, and it had to be a throwaway.
Bomb located by
You won't
attackers.
really be too upset by it, because it's just a single round out of 30. However, in Siege, it's so impactful that it's pretty much the equivalent of more like 4 or 5 rounds in Rainbow Six with just one. So losing one of those can set you back so far that it could really cause damage. So they have to be a little bit more careful. They have to be a little bit smarter. And I think that is why it's kind of a better format than what we have in the Red Cube League. But they are going to be going kitchen, so they're not going to be doing any off-site madness. But they are going to go with almost the same exact setup that the Viper had on the defense. Instead of a mute, however, they are going to be going with a Jaeger, so a little bit more killing potential. I think that's what they needed. And it's kind of the same thing on the attacking side. They really have pretty much identical lineups right now. Ollie is going to be opening up the kitchen window armor panel.
As he was definitely struggling a little bit there, is going to be getting the help from the Ash, and like you said, really almost identical lineup. The only change is going to be the Ash for the Zofia, which I don't necessarily know if I like, as I feel like Zofia just has a little bit more use to her, but obviously Ash needs a nerf. But
oh yeah, definitely.
But we are going to be seeing just holding this angle, trying to get that Maestro out of his corner is going to be the main objective of this Blackbeard, just forcing him into an uncomfortable situation. It looks like he has done that, but he is going to be pushed off as Mr. Humma able to get a huge frag onto the only hard breacher for this attacking side. Thermite is going to bite the dust, and Mr. Humma is searching for one more. I think that is going to be onto the buck as Ali goes down on the Blackbeard. That's going to be the castle securing the frag onto him. 5-3 now. Very convincing defense so far here from this DirtyBirds side.
This could be very dangerous for Viper, because if DirtyBirds is able to win this round, that's going to be where they start to pull away and where it becomes a lot harder for Viper to get back into the game, because right now they're only 1 round away from getting pretty close to tying it up, as 7 will find a kill. That's going to be the first one for Viper this round. 3-speed Warrior, if they really want to jump in right now, you can tell that they want to just hop in there so badly, and that's exactly what it's going to do, as Poppy is going to pop up with 1 kill and a great headshot, and a second one for him. 7, the 3-speed Warrior, is going to be taking the round for Viper.
That's exactly why Ash needs a nerf. Come on now. But just great gun skill there from 7. Basically by himself securing that round for Viper. So many things went wrong for them at the early going of that round. It was like 5-3. You lost your Buck, your soft destructor, and you lost your Thermite, your hard destructor. That's not a combination you expect a attacking team to come back from, but we saw this Viper side just wake up. I think 7 just having some individual confidence, knowing, all right, let's just push into sight and let's just let gun skill take over. That's what gave them the round, in my opinion. Viper, they need to play into that a little bit more. If I'm on DirtyBird's side, I do not want to fight fire with fire, because I cannot beat this Viper side mechanically. And that's what Viper needs to force out of DirtyBirds. They need to force them into positions where they can get into these one-on-one gunfights, where they can get into these long angles, because that's where Viper excels. And they did it last round. They haven't done it the majority of the rounds, but maybe that's the wake-up call Viper needed to start crawling out of the hole they dug for themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Defenders, protect
We
your
are going to
bombs
be
from
heading
being
into the
defused by
preparation phase of round number 8 right now. And it looks like what's going to be happening is DirtyBirds is going to be going on the same site. And they're going to be doing the same lineup. So we'll have to see if they think that it just, didn't work out too well in the last round. They're going to try the same strategy, or if they're going to go with the same preparation, but their actions are going to be different. Meanwhile, we can see that Viper is not going to allow themselves to become predictable as they pick up a sledge in the Dekevi. So this is the first round we're seeing where there isn't a Blackbeard in play. And who knows how that is going to go, but I do think that getting those logic bombs is going to allow Viper to figure out the roamers a little bit more easily and to overall figure out where DirtyBirds is without risking any of their drones or their lives. And that can be very important when it comes to the Ash or the Zofia or the Buck or whoever's going to run him, because somebody's going to do it once again to actually get the kills that they need to get.
Yeah, I think Dokkaebi definitely plays into the style of play of Viper extremely well because it just allows for that intel needed for an extremely fast rush and just getting the gunfight, again, into a one-on-one situation. So, strong pick there for the Doke. Obviously, it's not as strong as a Lion, who is very good at clearing numbers, but Lion is not going to be played anymore, so that's exactly why you probably see the Dokkaebi played there. But their dynamic is definitely a little bit different, so I don't want to compare them side by side because they are not parallel operators. We are going to be seeing, though, the ups top clear is going to be unsuccessful as it's going to be 7 is going to be going down, and there still is a Jaeger upstairs who is in a gunfight right now with the Buck, just cannot seem to find exactly where he is with his phone ringing as well. He is stuck in a very, very strong pinch there from the Buck and from the Dokkaebi. What a strong team play there from the Buck, from Aoeah and Geo.
Very good communications call out. I do think that somebody made a mistake, though, during the preparation to not actually open up that hatch, which would have allowed Jaeger to escape. But the grenade is going to be going down into the kitchen area, and it looks like it's not going to be finding anybody. I actually thought that it might have potentially been in the position to accidentally kill the Buck player by mistake. It looks like that's not the case. The Saiga peek through on the top, trying to see if he's able to find the player who's using his skeleton key to open up the floors below. Someone's gonna have to pay for that damage, Ollie. But it looks like he's gonna be abandoning that idea.
So we're going to be seeing Thermite finding himself on this south side. Most of the time, you typically see Thermite just opening up that courtyard wall. I think that's what he's trying to get into the position to do. Obviously, he has a castle in his way who is just going to be sitting at this hole. And I think they know each other is there, but they just do not want to contest an angle as they do not want to give up their life. But the round has kind of gone quiet right now as not a lot is happening, but what a flick there. But it's going to be false, just completely shut down as Hoppy Poppy is able to get that refrag. Nonetheless, really great shot, but it looks like the execution is going to be coming out from this attacking side.
The only problem is there's the remote gas grenade, there's the black eye, or I'm sorry, the evil eye that's going to give away the position right now. There's only 30 seconds left, and they have plenty of toxic babes to work with. Not the best position for the attackers, as No Salt isn't going to spawn out the attacking player. Geo watching from the flank behind on the bathroom area, though. Can spot anybody in that hallway. 15 seconds left with 6 operators left alive, so this is going to be a very explosive round. No Salt is going to find one. Will he be able to find a second peek out to the hallway? Tries to grab another one, but Mirage is going to take the 10, and this is a 3v1 with Geo, the last one for Viper. Remaining 3 seconds left. He has to do something, and he just doesn't have the time to get the kills or to get the diffuser down. And DirtyBirds will be picking up their first defensive round win.
So going back to kitchen is sometimes questionable after you've gone to a site and lost it. Going back to it, you do not want to become stubborn, but really good call there from DirtyBirds, realizing, hey, we just need to make it tighter, we need to make it better, we need to make it stronger, and we'll be able to win that round out, and that's exactly what they did. Now, going to be going on to that hookah lounge billiards. This is so interesting to me. You don't typically see this site in competitive play, but both of these teams have gone to it and not opted for that penthouse site. It's really weird. I don't quite know why. I don't think there's been any crazy update with the sites on exactly why this change is coming, but maybe these teams just prefer that site just a little bit more. And we see Geo on the blitz.
Ooh.
That could be dangerous, and no, he's going to be going to the Yin, who is in my opinion, still equally dangerous.
I mean, they both have flashes. They're
yeah.
basically the same operator, okay?
Exactly, yeah.
Anybody who says anything different is objectively wrong.
Yeah, of course. Come on now. But, yes, Yin is going to be just a lot of disruption, just like a blitz, but they're not exactly parallel. We're going to be seeing hookah billiards. Most of the time, a Blackbeard is extremely helpful on this site, but we're not going to be seeing that come out once again here. And it's really weird. We saw DirtyBirds every single round. Bring the Blackbeard, bring the Blackbeard, bring the Blackbeard.
I guess because Viper is trying to get some fragging operators. I mean, look at their lineup. Every single one of those operators has the ability to frag and to frag hard. Zafia, Ash, Ying in most cases. Even Hibana, she is mostly designed to both be a good balance of utility and kill potential. I think that's exactly what they have there, and it's smart because I think it's playing off of their strengths right now. Those are the rounds that they are doing better in. When they just rush out, they get kills, and they don't try to play the quote-unquote meta way.
Yeah, I don't want to call it a ranked star style of play, but it's just very aggressive style of play. When they have just long gunfights, they're most likely going to win that round. So choosing these operators, yes, a lot of people are going to be like, oh my god, why. Like, that's so stupid. It works into their style of play, and there's not much we can say about that. That could easily be why they didn't do so well last week. They maybe were just trying too much and thought once they went back to that drawing board, maybe the best thing to do is just be comfortable.
That, or maybe they're just preparing for a Rainbow Six Siege battle royale.
Yeah,
They're working on their
absolutely.
killing frags, but Mirage, he is showing that he is definitely going to get that victory royale that ever comes out as he picks up a kill onto Ollie and almost grabs the second one. Will he be able to connect the shots that he needs to get a second frag for himself? 7 is out there. He definitely has the advantage with that R4C. Who is going to win this fight? And it looks like 7 will come out on top. Not able to complete the kill though, and it's just that there's an explosion. The impact grenade might have saved his life as he tries to drop down. Mr. Huma will find a frag for himself right now. That's going to be a very strong elimination, and Mirage gets out with his life. That is the luckiest smoke I've seen, but Gio's going to be rushing for it right now. There's somebody right on top of him. Sega's going to find that shot, and will he be able to get the second one? No, he's going to run out of ammo. Paul sees it, but his buddy's going to be there. He's like, I got you, fam. And all of a sudden, 7 is the last member remaining on Viper.
Wow, there is an absolute bloodbath in the floor right below the site, and there's also a bloodbath in the balcony right outside of site as 7 is going to go down. And most of the time when people say, oh, let's just fight fire with fire, I tell them, well, remember, the fire department uses water. That's probably not the best idea. DirtyBirds have completely just turned that around. DirtyBirds fought fire with fire. They said, okay, you know what? These guys want to bring fragging operators. They want to play aggressive. They want to play long angles or peek hard. Yep. Well, we're going to do the exact same thing, and we're going to be better than them. And that's exactly what happened. Pushing into that bar area, you have a Yin and a Zofia. So much disruption to clear out a room. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be simple clear. Why is the Vigil not retreating? What is happening? And then Vigil says, you know what, I'm just going to stick it. Not only does a Yin decide to just land on top of my head and I get an easy frag, but I'm also able to peek up super quickly, land a couple shots into Zofia, and then have Castle finish it off. Really, really strong roam hold there. They almost baited the entire Viper team into a deadly, deadly trap, and it worked out perfectly. Whole Viper side pushes in, and then it just DirtyBirds just clamp down and just get super, super strong when it comes to mechanical skill, and they were able to get 4 kills back to back to back to back.
Need to locate and
and I think that this is where Viper is starting to get nervous because they're going with some very interesting operator choices. This is completely new to their lineup that we haven't seen in this match. They have a Capitao, they have a Thatcher, they have a Thermite, they brought back the Blackbeard. The only consistent operator that they've been using is Zofia, who has been, utilizing her lifeline, has been doing a good job with that. But I think this is probably their best decision in this position. They're on match point, and they really have to shake things up because it just seems like what they're doing isn't working. And they have 3 consecutive rounds, I might add, to win in order to stay in the game and push it into overtime against DirtyBirds.
Or draw.
Or draw, I do apologize.
Overtime. Locate a bomb and defuse it.
But looks like DirtyBirds is going to be doing the same thing just on a different site. And why would they change things when it's working out for them?
Yeah, it's working extremely, extremely well. And I think something that actually could easily be the problem for Viper was that in the rounds before this, they just changed too much. We said this with DirtyBirds, they have kept the almost exact same lineup every single time. And you said, well, that puts them in a very comfortable spot, just like CSGO, as wow, your Blackbeard, who we talk about so much, is gonna go down first. And it just is not looking good for Viper. But basically what I was saying, Viper have changed operators and changed lineups so much, no one's really comfortable right now, and I think that's evident. They came into this match uncomfortable because they just had an incredibly just terrible loss. So adding on top of that how uncomfortable they've been just with their operator choices and what strat to use, they're not looking really good right now.
Yes, a 7 is going to be playing on the balcony area right now. We saw him on the Ash and he did a great job on Rambo's gonna find one, and just as I say that, he proves my point with a great kill on Aoeah, who's rotating. Will he be able to find the second one? Yes, he will. This guy is an absolute madman, just rushing inside. So they just need to throw him on the forefront of this. Will he be able to find a third one? Almost gets that, as Poppy is going to fall, and Rambo will be picking up another one. He's doing a great job, and all of a sudden, No Salt is the last member alive in this 1v3. He is able to spot out the Thermite, not going to connect the shots, so he is completely into between a rock and a hard place, and even though he's able to get one down, it's not going to be enough. And Rambo will get himself a nice little 3-piece to end it out and keep Viper's hopes alive.
So Viper obviously have to get 3 rounds here because DirtyBirds have already secured a draw. So the best result right now for Viper is those 2 points, whereas as a loss is 1 point and a win is 3. DirtyBirds have, I think, all the pawns in their table because yes, a draw isn't necessarily something you want, but it's a lot better than a loss. And already DirtyBirds have secured the draw, so I think they're playing a lot more, maybe a little bit lax, and they're just kind of laid back a little bit because they know they've already secured this map a little bit more than Viper has. And Viper, they've been backed into a corner, but sometimes when you back a dog into their corner, that's when they play the best, and that's when they get the most angry. So potentially, this is what Viper needs. They just need to have everything against them for them to wake up, and that last round could easily be the difference, as 2 more rounds, we're going to see a draw here.
Exactly, and the Blackbeard is going to get brought out once again. Now, we've seen how deadly and how useful he can be in both a gameplay sense and a mental sense, acting as kind of an intimidation factor with that rifle shield blocking so much damage and allowing for just immediate trades without any repercussions. So we're going to see what they do there. And along with that, they're bringing in a blitz. Definitely an operator that you have to handle and deal with immediately. You can't just say, okay, you know, he's in that room, we'll just leave him there for now and focus on this way. No,
you can't do that.
To deal with him, otherwise he's going to rush in there, he's going to blind you, the room is going to smell like phosphorus, and you are going to get boned.
Yeah, you're gonna get absolutely destroyed if you try to ignore a blitz. And I think another thing with the Blackbeard pick is the fact, you said it's a mental game. It's also a mental game in the sense so many people hate Blackbeard, and when they get killed by a Blackbeard, it makes them angry. And when you can make the other team angry, you do it. You throw them off as much as possible. Every single thing counts. That's why a lot of people turn chat off in ranked, because they just get very, very angry.
It's essentially like teabagging, basically.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It shouldn't work, but it does.
It does.
It does so well.
Yes, absolutely. I could not agree more. But we are going to be seeing 220 here. It looks like just trying to get as much intel onto the site before the push is going to be coming out. Zofia is a very nice spot here. You always will put a Zofia on this service entrance window due to the fact she can clear out all barbed wire to make the entry into that room a lot smoother. As we also see Geo is going to be struggling with this castle barricade just a little bit, just waiting to get it open, and then he will just wreak havoc onto anybody sitting in that kitchen.
And just as you're speaking, you know, we talked about how dangerous Blitz was, and now he's kind of taken off the board right now, as Ollie is fall to the Roman castle, but Rambo is going to get something for his trouble, able to take out the Jaeger. Very strong operator in terms of these gunfights is now no longer available. And it's starting to look good for Viper. I don't want to give them the caster's curse, but they definitely are in the position to come back here. They aren't down any men. They are in a really good area for them to work with. And although there is that Valkyrie camp with enough information that they can utilize, certainly a good position for them to get back in this game. Minute 20 left. Aoeah in the bathroom. He might run into the Zofia eventually right now, but they have to start to coordinate their attack and get in there. And look how close these two operators are to each other. And the runout's going to come out, and he's actually going to succeed in doing so. And he's not going to die from the Claymore. Aoeah, the absolute madland, is going to get away with that scot-free. What is going on?
I have no idea how he was able to secure that kill on the Zofia, and I was just about to say they need to get control of upstairs or the runout is going to come out. And Zofia was in a really nice spot as Mirage is able to shut down 7, and could that be the nail in the coffin? Potentially not, as Rambo continues his stellar play. It's going to be Aoeah off the board, and he's finally going to say, okay, you know what, you ran out, I'm just going to put an end to this guy because he is just too lucky. But 27 seconds left and 2 operators left, and you still have smoke with all 3 remote gas grenades. This is not looking good for this attacking side at all.
18 seconds left. Rambo will be pulling out that goo mine as he gets set up, ready to get the diffuser down. He might actually be able to get it down. That smoke grenade is tossed a little too far, and Geo is going to be covering for his teammate. Mirage trying to look for him right now. Isn't able to get it though. And look at what is going on here. Rambo is able to take the shot down, and Sega's going to get someone as well, but Rambo's gonna fall in a very, very close end to this game, as
Defenders
Dirty
disable
Birds
the diffuser.
will disable the
Bomb
diffuser
defusing
and
attempt
will be
failed.
taking cover.
Defenders win.
That was an explosive end to an explosive match, and Dirty Birds able to secure it against all odds. So many people coming, actually, well, not necessarily now, but against all odds in terms of standings. Viper, a number 5 team, is gonna be going down to a number 13. It seems as if Viper might have lost their touch a little bit, and I say this a lot, 2020 vision when you are looking hindsight, and they need to do that a little bit more. They need to go back to the drawing board. They need to watch over VODs, because this is not the Viper we're used to seeing. This is not the top 5 Viper. This is a Viper that is struggling with communication. They are not comfortable with their roles. They're not comfortable with their strats or their operators. Everything is wrong for them. Yes, this was not a 7-1, but a loss is a loss, and nobody wants to lose. And Dirty Birds were able to secure the win here, and that's definitely going to put them possibly in the playoff picture. So huge win for Dirty Birds. And I mean, do you have any closing remarks?
I just have one, and that is Dirty Birds just didn't allow for Viper to do anything. They didn't give them an inch. When Viper tried to do something, Dirty Birds was immediately able to counter it. And so no matter what Viper tried to change up, no matter what they tried to do differently, it just seemed like they weren't able to get it. Although they were relatively close, especially in that last round right there. I definitely think that maybe if Gio watched from the doorway and didn't push inside with his teammate, he might have actually been able to clutch that. But again, like you said, hindsight's 2020. And definitely a very good victory for Dirty Birds.
Yeah, I think that's gonna, again, a lot of what we're seeing with these matches in this later half of the season is the fact that it's almost teams wanting to prove themselves and trying to just get onto the list of other teams just to make them get noticed a little bit more. And Dirty Birds, they're extremely quiet in the Discord, and they're even so quiet that they don't even want to do an interview after this game. So unfortunately, we won't be able to do an interview, but the quiet assassins of Dirty Birds are able to secure a huge win against a pretty active Viper squad. If you are in the Discord or are on the Twitter, they tend to talk quite a bit. So maybe just that, I guess, shade that this this Dirty Bird side puts over themselves was just enough for them to secure the win. But that's going to be it from us today. Dirty Birds securing the win, and wow, was that an explosive matchup. But we will be right back very soon, actually, because I don't exactly know if they want an interview or not. I'm going to let you know. Some people do, some people don't. So I will let you know as soon as possible, and we'll be right back, and then we will show our closing remarks after this matchup.
I can't find my way back to you until you make amends with the demons you've been through. And I can't regret leaving you alone until you find your way back home. Find your way back home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there is going to be no post-game interview, unfortunately, so we can't exactly see what was going through the mind of those DirtyBirds players. They are going to choose to stay a little bit more quiet and behind the curtain, but just our closing remarks for this matchup. Absolutely insane match, very explosive, very back and forth, but just DirtyBirds was the better team, and I still think having to come into this game knowing you are more than 10, you are about 10 spots below this Viper side, you gotta be thinking, what was the confidence for DirtyBirds? Was it low? Was it high? Because maybe they're thinking this game didn't mean much. It doesn't matter now. They were able to secure a huge win, and somewhat convincing. Obviously, it was back and forth, but once they shut the door was completely shut. But that's gonna be it from us today. I was joined here by Demonic. Demonic, do you have any last remarks before we shut it down and see them tomorrow?
Just wanted to say thank you for letting me cast along with you, and if you guys want to follow all the news updates or whatever on me, my Twitter is going to be twitter.com/demonic_casts. I did get a new one, or not a new one, but I changed the name of it anyway from what it was previously, so yeah, that's why I'm going to do a shameless plug there, and I think very fun game to watch, and hopefully you guys will tune in tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks guys so much for tuning in today. Tomorrow we're going to be having some even more matchups, potentially two. There was a little bit of an issue with the first match, but the first match that was having the issue is actually going to be two new teams that have came into the league. One is called Orgless because they are Orgless, where actually they might have just got picked up by an org. I'm not 100% positive, but one is gonna, and then the opponent is also going to be the new team. So this is the first time we have seen that we're just two completely new teams are going to be going head to head. Digital Dynasty versus Orgless. An extremely fun matchup tomorrow. One of the players I'm pretty sure all of you are very familiar with on the Orgless roster is going to be Jolly. So it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of gets his feet wet in RCR6. But that's gonna be it from us today. Potentially some matches tomorrow. Make sure you stay tuned on the Twitter and stay tuned in the Discord. That's where you're gonna get your most up-to-date news. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.